Now that you've had some experience with DimXpert and a little knowledge on datums, I'm going to have you run an exercise on using DimXpert to better understand datums, get some more practice with DimXpert, and also understand the 6 degrees of freedom. I'll have you use parts you made from Chapter 7 in the CAD classes to practice this, but I'm going to show you use this part from Chapter 6 as my example. So when you get your part open and get to DimXpert, we'll just use the auto dimension scheme at this moment, because this is just practice with datum. So if we click auto dimension scheme, you have your datum selection here. So the end goal I kind of want you to work on is to get your part to be as green as possible. And if all green should be the end goal, but that's not necessarily always going to be the easiest task. And I'm not expecting you to know exactly how to do this fully. But so when you pull up your part, kind of look it over and start thinking about how this would need to be secured to measure it out to see if the part was in spec for whatever it was going to be used for, which we don't always know what those are going to be. Let's just use our imagination and best judgment. So I'm looking at this one, and this big hole here, the bottom surface, and these outside edges seem like pretty good datums to secure the part so it can be measured. So my primary, I'm going to select this hole. My secondary, I'm going to select the bottom surface, and the tertiary, I'm going to pick this side, and also I'm just going to set it to be, just so you know how to do it, I'm going to create a width feature. So I'm going to click that side and then this side, and that creates our securing feature on that. It's going to be the center plane of that, not just the side plane. Alright, I'm going to hit the check mark, and as you can see, that made the entire part green. That means it's fully defined per DimXpert. It probably needs a couple more, potentially some more dimensions here or there, but it's a good start. Alright, you got to make sure you unclick this, otherwise you can't move over to another project, which we're going to go from here. We're going to create an assembly, which I already did, to create our datum reference frame. Kind of a mock-up. It's not exactly, but it's just to kind of give us a visual look at what something like that could look like. So here I have that piece in here just kind of floating in the middle of nowhere to kind of demonstrate the 6 degrees of freedom. So with a left click I can drag the part, and with a right click I can rotate the part. So this thing has complete freedom to move around. So to lock that down, I'm going to start with locking it to our datum A, which is the hole, which I have on my datum reference frame here, a cylinder. So I'm going to activate that mate. Now the only degrees of freedom this has now is on the y-axis and to rotate about the y-axis. It can't move in the z-axis or x-axis or rotate about those axes either. The next datum I'm going to mate it to is now B, which is the bottom surface to this surface. So I'm going to unsuppress that. Now that's snapped there. And now it can only rotate about the y-axis. That's the only degree of freedom it has left. And then the last one is because I used that width datum. I'm going to use my front plane and the front plane of the part. And when I activate that, the part is fully constrained and can be measured per the datums. So that's kind of the end goal. I'm not expecting perfection with any of this, just give it your best shot. Just should be decent practice on understanding datums and a little more practice with using that DimXpert. Have fun.